Hello, it's 4 p.m, it's Friday, it's short fuse, and this week it's just going to be me because Pri has decided to abandon me this week, and Sumit and Jeff are still on holiday. So if you're watching this, Sumit and Jeff, don't be too nervous, hopefully I'll do a good job. So I'm going to get straight into the first story of the week, and it's based on a report from the Environmental Audit Committee. And so the Environmental Audit Committee has said that heatwave deaths could actually triple by 2050 unless the government takes serious action to avoid this happening. So they've said that temperatures could be dangerous temperatures could actually be normal by 2040, and those temperatures would be equal to the level of the big heat wave we had in the UK in 2003. Which is when lots of elderly people and vulnerable people unfortunately prematurely died because of the extreme heat. So it's obviously a very important issue, and the EAC has called upon the government to call upon the NHS to ensure that they look after these elderly people and vulnerable people by implementing a number of measures. And these measures include increasing the resilience of places like old people's homes and hospitals by insulating them better, making sure they have better water supplies to care for the people there, and also just on issuing guidance to doctors and stuff like that, so they can tell the people coming into their surgeries to watch out for surges in temperature. And also by the government the EAC says the government needs to just reduce emissions, which are basically leading to these extreme shifts in climate that we're seeing. So yeah, that's that story. The next story is about Japan, which in a sustainable move, which will help avoid climate change. Japan has said it's going to make all new cars electric by 2050. This comes after lots of other news we've had recently of countries across Europe, including the UK, implementing dates that they're actually going to stop trying to sell petrol and diesel cars. It's in a move to reduce carbon emissions, improve air quality and so on. Japan actually announced this with a panel of economic ministers and leaders of car companies like Toyota and Nissan. They all sat down together and said that this needs to happen by 2050. And they also said that they're going to set up a new industry body for car firms to basically come together, source cobalt and things like lithium collaboratively, and that will ensure that there's actually enough electric cars on the roads by 2050 to meet supply, because those chemicals and materials are used in making the batteries, which are essential to the technology. And at first I read this and thought 2050 maybe seems like a bit late compared to other countries, because across Europe we've seen dates like 2030, 2040 already rolled out. And especially considering how technologically advanced Japan is, you might have thought that date would come earlier. But then I thought about it a bit more, and I thought maybe it's actually a more realistic date, because that's about 30 years in the future. That seems like a better time frame than 10 or 20 years to actually get all these cars, rolled out and mass produced, so we have enough on the roads. So yeah, I actually think that's quite a good date. I think it's realistic, and hopefully they'll achieve that. And finally, I've got a story about British MPs, which a new report suggests they're actually overestimating public opposition and the costs of onshore wind power. So this new report suggests that MPs are largely unaware of the low costs and popularity of the technology. And it suggests only 8% of MPs are actually aware that onshore wind technology is the cheapest way to install low carbon energy into all energy actually. So it's the cheapest way to install all energy across the UK, new capacity. 8% of MPs are aware of that, and 12% of MPs actually said they believe the cheapest way of putting new generation into place is through big nuclear plants like Hinkley Point C. And we all know what's happened there with the finances, so it sounds like they need to do a bit more reading in my opinion. Actually only 2% of the public strongly oppose onshore wind farms, but the majority of MPs, more than 50%, when they were asked to guess what public opposition is, they actually guessed 20% rather than 2%. So they're vastly overestimating the anger and dissatisfaction the public has with these onshore wind turbines. And actually I used to be opposed to onshore wind farms, because I think, in England we've got lots of beautiful countryside, and I thought they're probably quite noisy, maybe they're going to ruin the views. But I recently went to Spain, and there I actually saw some wind turbines in the distance, and I thought, as an energy reporter, it was my duty to go and investigate. So we went up to the wind turbine. I think Rob's got a video for you here, and it actually wasn't that noisy. So I was underneath, you could hear it, but 100 meters away there wasn't that much noise. And I think when you look at the line of them across the horizon, they actually look quite beautiful, especially considering they're saving emissions and carbon dioxide by reducing our reliance on coal and technologies like that. So yep, I'm one of the members of the public that supports onshore wind. And yeah, I know you're missing her, so Sumit especially probably. So we thought we'd get in touch with Pri earlier today to ask her more about a story she wrote earlier in the week. That was about fracking, so here she is. So hi Pri, how's it going today?
Hi, Johnny. I'm good, thank you. Working from home. So, are you having fun today without me, or are you missing me?
It's a bit hot in the office, but no, we're all enjoying ourselves, working hard as usual.
And the guys being nice to you.
Yeah, they're looking after me okay. Rob bought me a Calippo, so can't complain.
Ah, good, good. I'll see you next week anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So, as you mentioned, I've got the fracking story. Obviously, big news for the fracking industry this week
Yep,
because the UK government gave the go-ahead for Quadrilla to frack at its Preston New Road site in Lancashire.
yep.
And it follows months and months of delays. So huge news for the sector, as I said. And as part of this permit, Quadrilla will be able to frack for shale gas at its site in Lancashire.
Okay.
Uh,
Aren't there some conditions attached to that?
Yeah, so there are conditions. The Energy and Clean Growth Minister Claire Perry said that uh, one of the co-investors, Spirit Energy, which is a joint venture between Centrica and a Norwegian
Yeah.
company, will have to give their submit their accounts for the last financial year.
Okay.
Also, oh well, they have to submit the financial details, or they have to deposit around £557,000 for potential liabilities for decommissioning costs for the future.
Quite a lot of money.
Uh, yes, but I think I mean, it's going to be a huge project. It's one of the first, or it's the first project since the UK introduced new regulatory regimes earlier this year.
Yeah.
But Perry said that obviously there are concerns about whether, from environmental groups saying that it's better for the environment to go with renewables rather than investing in more fossil fuels for the country. And some even say that it could cause earthquakes because there have been incidents in the past, especially in the US as well.
Yeah, they're not
But
big fans of fracking,
uh,
are they? The green groups.
sorry, say that again.
The green groups aren't generally big fans of fracking.
No, no. So obviously they've been against this since the very beginning. But Claire Perry said that this permit covers all the environmental and health and safety grounds. And Quadrilla obviously is very excited about and very pleased to get this permit. And they said
Yeah, of course.
the permit covers all the health and safety, regulatory, environment, all the regulations in place. And they actually also intend to submit another fracking application over the coming months as well for another site.
Yeah, talking of the green groups you were discussing, we
Mm.
ran a story earlier in the week as well, didn't we, about the protesters that have chained themselves to actually out to devices outside the new Preston New Road facility.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, that was interesting because I think obviously this announcement was made on the same day that the fracking protesters were there outside the same site, which is the Preston
yeah,
New Road site. I think they've been protesting there for about 18 months
yeah,
now.
very
Uh,
controversial.
but it was, yeah, but it was interesting that they were protesting on the same day before the government made the announcement. I'm not sure if the government actually said that it was going to be announcing make this announcement on the day itself, but it was quite a
They had
coincidence
the
that
inside
the
scoop.
fracking protesters. Yeah, and didn't you say they were arrested as well, a few of them?
Yeah, there were 6 of them, I think, that chained themselves to, I think, diggers and fences and so on outside the facility. And then, yeah,
Mm.
6 of them were arrested. And Quadrilla actually said they're going to press charges because it wasn't. There are lots of fracking protests that we cover, as you know, but it wasn't
Yeah,
exactly like the others. This was actually to protest the injunction that Quadrilla
right.
has achieved. It's acquired for this
Mm.
site for Preston New Road specifically. And that injunction, court injunction, basically aims to stop any kind of disruptive protest or anything like that happening at
Yeah,
the site because, you know, lots of campaigners have previously locked themselves onto things and the sites had to close
mm,
down for a
yeah.
day and things
Some
like
of them
that.
have been very crazy.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so they're protesting the actual injunction. They said that the protesters claimed that the injunction was an abuse of the law by Quadrilla, which obviously the firm disagrees with. So yeah, they're going to take them to court and battle that one out.
Okay. So I think that's all the information I can give on my cracking story for now. Obviously, all the details will be on our website.
Yep.
But I thought I'd quickly also mention a story we ran earlier today about BP, a big UK energy giant, has said that it is or has agreed to buy shale gas and oil assets in the US, and it's from a global mining company, a BHP Billiton, and it's going to be spending $10.5 billion
Yeah.
on this
It's a
project.
crazy amount of
And
money.
yes, and I think it's quite significant because it's one of the BP's largest deal in I think nearly 2 decades,
Wow. Yeah, that's a long
and
time.
also it marks a huge turning point since the 2010 Deepwater Horizon incident at the Gulf of Mexico. I think we ran a story earlier this year about the cost implications for BP for this project,
Yeah.
for the incident, and I think it marks a huge turning point since then.
Okay, great. Well, thank you,
So
Pri.
I thought I'd quickly mention that.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. I think I'm going to head back to the rest of my stories now, but I'll see you on Monday.
Okay, see you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Pri, for getting involved there. It's always nice to talk about these stories together. I'm not sure why my eyes looked so demonic in that, but I haven't got any special contact lenses or anything in, so yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, getting on to the ever-important events that we've got coming up. I'll start with my favourite, which is the ELN Power Ride. That's on the 19th of September, and that involves lots of us going to the Redbridge Cycling Centre to do as many laps as we can to support arthritis research. And for each kilometre we ride, we're trying to raise £1. And if you can't get along to the cycling centre, you can also count up the kilometres on your commute or an evening cycle or something like that. So there's no excuse not to get involved and ride your bike that day. And then we've also got our Energy Live Expo with Energy Minister Claire Perry. She'll be headlining that on the 31st of October. And ELPA, so the Energy Live Personality Awards, on the 7th of December. You can get involved with both of those by going on our website, going on the events page. All the information you need will be there, and we'd really love to see you there. So yeah, get on the website and sort out the tickets. And yeah, finally, we've got our finally, which is the 9,000 watt electric bike that this man has DIY'd up in his garage. It's pretty fast. He sounds pretty excited by it. I don't think you should bring one on the Power Ride if you're thinking about it, because I'm not sure on the safety credentials exactly. But here you go.
Now I've put these knobblies back on, it's a lot smoother, hell of a lot smoother, and the front end's coming up. Here we go.
Hello again. Yeah, so that electric bike, yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I'd like to have a go on one. So we'll see if we can run a story on that maybe in the near future. And there's a quick correction I have to make there. I said the Energy Live Personality Awards was on the 7th of December. It's actually on the 6th. So you probably noticed that if you rushed to our website to get tickets. But yeah, that's 6th of December. So we hope to see you there. And yeah, finally, thank you for joining me today on my solo short fuse. We've got the stories email as always if you want to get in touch with us, give any input or commentary or feedback on anything, or suggestions for new films we could make. So that's stories@energylivenews.com. As usual, me and Pri will be picking up those emails next week. So yeah, please get in touch. And yeah, have a great weekend. It's hot weather, so I'll see you on the beach.